Hello, so today's going to be a little bit of an interesting VOD review. I'm going to be talking about a little bit of my rank up journey and how I've been playing a lot more of Maddie reroll and how that has helped me to get a little bit of a competitive edge on some of the lobbies that I've been playing in. So Maddie reroll to me is not particularly strong. I don't think it's that great of a comp, but I would be lying if I didn't say that me playing around Maddie has definitely been what has helped me to rank up the most in the last couple of days at least. Right now, I've recently just hit Master, and I swear to God, it was off the back of Maddie carrying me over the finish line. A lot of times you'll see like these D ranks. These are usually when I'm on stream, so you can see like I'm generally like getting better at the game and figuring out the patch and stuff. I just D rank a lot on stream, but don't get too scared about that. This isn't because of Maddie. These D ranks aren't because of Maddie, but if you look at my stats, like in the recent games, a lot of them I'm playing around snipers and bruisers, which is usually me playing around Maddie. The game that I actually got to Masters, like last night that I played, was this game where it was an absolutely crazy game, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But we're probably going to VOD review one of the other Maddie games that I played, which is this one right here. And I'm just going to talk about my mentality and basically what I've been doing about it. If you like this content, please make sure to like and subscribe. Also, I was making this video. We're going to continue the item part 2 guide. If you came here from the item guide that was released yesterday, I'm going to work on the next one for tomorrow. I just couldn't finish it today. I had a little bit of a rough day today. Woke up really late, not feeling super well. So we're just going to do a VOD review because I think this is equally as important if you're trying to learn the game of TFT. So what is the Maddie reroll line? Let's just talk about it in general. So in general, basically what you're basically playing a one cost reroll. There's different ways to play around Maddie. I think the higher cap version is to play around enforcers. If you have a Maddie 3 and you're playing vertical enforcer with an enforcer emblem, it is quite strong. But the way that I'm talking about playing Maddie is with the bruiser line. So typically what your early game board will look like is something like this, and then you'll find some other sniper at one point. Let's say Zeri for the time being. The second sniper really doesn't matter. You're almost never worrying about that. But basically you're just going to be playing two bruisers, and you're going to go for Steb 3, you're going to go for Trundle 3, and then you're going to go for Maddie 3. And it's a one cost reroll, so it's very efficient in rolling, and you're very strong in your early / mid game, and then you have to try and find a way to cap out the board. The way that you cap it out later is that you play vertical bruisers. So it's really dependent on finding an Elise. Bruisers has been really awkward to play around because of this, because finding Elise is very, very difficult because she's a very hotly contested unit, because she fits in really well with a lot of AP lines as well as AD lines. But the idea is that you just play 2 sniper, and then you cap out your board with 6 bruiser, and then you have a little bit of free spots that you can then put in somebody like a 6 cost on level 9 or anything like that. So your board is complete on level 8, and it's also pretty much complete on level 6, because level 6 you would have a board that looks something like this, where you have 4 bruisers in your front line and Maddie's area in the back line. In terms of items on Maddie, the ones that I particularly like to make is Gwinsu, because it helps her to cast. Infinity Edge, excuse me, because you want her ult to crit. If you read it, she has like a really high mana threshold, but basically she just always shoots towards the furthest enemy, which is something I'll talk about in a little bit. And it's something that I really like about her. And, you know, I've had a love-hate relationship with Maddie. I think that with this line, she does really well. If you're not playing Maddie in a context where you have like a really, really strong front line, there's a lot of like moments where I definitely have shit talked on Maddie a lot. I wanted to show this clip because I thought it was really funny. This is very recently on stream, where I'm just like constantly screaming at this unit all the time whenever I play it.
Bro, she just whiffed. Did you see her? She missed every shot. This unit just walked 2 feet.
with the desk slam. I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of Maddie, and I don't think that she's something that you can always play. She's very conditional to play, which is what I'm going to talk about in this video. But the main thing that was a problem for me is that I didn't have a good idea of how to play around AD, right? A lot of times when I'm having struggles in my rank up journey, at least so far in the set, it's because it's very, very easy to play AP, right? The AP units are very, very flushed out, right? So like if you're playing around a 4 cost and you're trying to play flexibly, AP flex is very, very easy. It's easy to figure out a way to transition and play open to both Heimer and Silco, or you can play open to both Heimer and Zoe, or you can play open to both Silco and Zoe. It's very easy to find ways to make items and play around these 3 units. If you think about AD lines, however, they're very, very rough. Right? If you think about your melee AD lines, they require very, very specific conditions. And if you think about your AD backliners, they also require very specific conditions. A lot of times when you're playing around Corki, for example, alongside when you're playing around Twitch, we'll start with Twitch. Twitch requires typically that you need a bruiser emblem on a Mundo. right? Mundo is very, very contested, so it's very hard to find a stable front line around this Mundo, because you need to find, not only do you have to hit like a Mundo 2, you also have to have a Bruiser emblem a lot of the time, because it's very hard to have a stable front line if you're not playing around Bruiser. 5 experiment is an option, but usually 3 experiment is what you play, and it does help out Twitch a lot having 3 experiment. Especially if you have the Mundo that can scale up with the experiment bonus in addition to having the Bruiser emblem. The problem is Mundo is a unit that's very, 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 very contested in AP lines, almost every AP line. Well, namely Dominators, but Dominators are very, very popular right now, so it's very hard to find a copy of Mundo. Additionally, Dominators and Black Rose use Elise a lot, and Elise is a bruiser that's going to give you the synergies that you require for these frontline traits. So you run into a really, really difficult problem about having a stable frontline for this Twitch. And if you know anything about Twitch, Twitch is typically a Guinsoo user. So your frontline stability is very, very weak, so I find it very, very difficult to play around Twitch. So that's an option for AD, but it's a very, very difficult option. Vi is very, very difficult because unless you're playing around Vertical Pit Fighter, you're probably going to be rerolling Violet, which means then you're contesting a 1-cost reroll. So Vi isn't really somebody that's super itemized. She feels almost like more of a support that you play her because of her stun. She does work really, really well in the Corki or Mbessa line where you're playing Vertical Emissary. Basically, there's different lines where you play Vertical Emissary and then they pop off really hard, except that board's very expensive because then you're trying to itemize and upgrade multiple 4 costs in order to stabilize your board. So Mbessa and Vi, as well as Corki, they just require a lot of gold and they're very, very expensive. And Corki, you can't really put Twitch items, like the Twitch you really want to Guinsoo on, Corki you really don't want to Guinsoo on. You can start by making IE and then figure it out along the way, but it's very, very difficult. Then that brings me to reroll options. Well, reroll options, AD is also really awkward. You need a Tristana. Tristana reroll is very, very strong, but Tristana usually requires you to have like a really, really early Tristana so she can scale up really well. So what I was looking at is, what can I do if I get AD items, right? If I get AP items, it's very, very easy, right? I can reroll Renata. If I don't reroll Renata, I'm playing one of these 3 units, and there's no chance that I'm going to miss on all of them. Sometimes you do miss on all of them. Sometimes you run into contested lines and things go bad. But generally, if you're playing well, you won't have a problem with hitting any of these 3 units. So what can I do if I'm playing around AD? So I decided to start experimenting with other units. I play a lot of Zeri reroll. That's something that I do as well, and then I also do Maddie reroll. Depending on my spot, sometimes I play Zeri, sometimes I play Maddie. I either play Zeri with Watchers or I play Maddie with Bruisers. And that's like my way of stabilizing a little bit around the current meta that I'm facing in my particular games. Another thing that's really important with Maddie is that if you look at all the 1 costs, right? Amumu is very hotly contested because usually people are playing Automata in the lobby, but sometimes they aren't. Draven, Darius, Violet, and Powder are all really, really contested in the family line, so they're very often bought. The Sentinels, if somebody's playing Renata reroll, typically an Irelia and a Sint are units that are bought in, and as well as Vex are usually bought because of Renata reroll. So if someone in the lobby, let's just consider these 2 options, right? If someone in the lobby is playing around Sentinels or Renata, then they're usually holding on to all of these 1-cost units. If somebody's playing family reroll, then they're holding on to all of these 1-cost units. As you can see, the 1-cost units that are never really contested is Maddie, Steb, and Trundle. So what ends up happening is if you're in a lobby, for example, where somebody is rerolling family and somebody is playing Heimer set, either is playing towards Heimer Sentinel, so they're holding on to these units, or they are actually rerolling these units because they're playing Renata, then these units are taken out of the pool. What that does is it makes it really, really easy for me to hit these particular units. If I'm able to hit these units early, it doesn't matter how weak they are, because in the lobbies that I'm playing, obviously your experiences might be different, I'm able to get them for free. If I'm able to get them for free, it's good enough. If I have an AD opener, I'll just save HP, and I'll just get whatever placement I get. It will definitely be better than trying to play around a high cost unit, losing a bunch of HP, and then going 8th. Because that's what happens sometimes with Twitch. If you miss on your roll down because you're playing so narrow to one particular line, you sometimes run into situations where you just lose out instantly. So now, that was like the little intro. I wanted to make it more guide-like, so I'm going to skim through the VOD to kind of make the video a little bit more digestible. But this is the mentality that brought me to the conclusion of trying this out. And then I'll explain it during the VOD now to show you guys, hey, this is how it worked out and this is what I was doing based on what I learned throughout my games. So, first things first. This is a game. Don't look at the 7th. The 7th was that game was messed up. I think that was a game that I finished on stream, and then this was off stream right after. But anyways, I digress. We start here with Jace, right? Jace is Artifact Anvil at the start of the game. So everybody here gets an Artifact Anvil. Now, Artifact Anvils are basically like top decking Exodia. So already you know this lobby is going to be messed up. It's going to be messed up, right? You can deny it, you can choose it, but what's going to happen is a lot of the times when it's Artifact Anvil start, it's like RNG. Do you get a good artifact that you can force towards a broken unit? Or do you get an artifact that synergizes with your board such that you can play around it and then win out the game that way? So already I know that if I'm not the high roller, I'm going to have to look for an alternate opportunity to save HP and just play for placements, right? I'm not thinking about going first this game until I pop open this Artifact Anvil and I see something cool. If I don't see something cool in there, then I know that I'm just playing for a fourth. If you're playing for a fourth, all that matters is HP, right? If somebody has Exodia, the way that you win the game, you're not getting first because that person's always going to beat you. The way that you get placements, the way that you get elo is by just making sure that there's somebody else with lower HP so that when they fight the guy that has Exodia, they go below you and they get fourth and you get third or you get second or whatever. It comes down to an HP game, right? It's the same in a lot of lobbies. Same with like Loot Sub, same with like Scuttle Puddle. A lot of these lobbies where there's people that clearly hit, like for example, like trainer dummies, right? If somebody has like 10 Rebel and they're just gonna win the lobby, or somebody has 9 scrap or has like one of the crazy prismatic verticals, you know that they won the lobby already. The only thing that separates you from your peer is not what your board is at that time or what your items are at that time. The only thing that matters is your HP. So that's like the first thing that has to come in through mentality. I'm looking here, I have some AD items, I have some AP items, I'm not sure exactly which I will do. I look around, I'm trying to see if anybody popped their Orn artifact. Here I'm looking for a generic augment that I can take because I don't know exactly what I'm playing towards. So I'm either going to take Starry Night or I'm going to take Inspiring Epitaph. Starry Night helps me in stabilize my board early. So I pop open my artifact. All of these are useless. None of these are game winning. Spectral Cutlass is really good on some units, but unless you have it paired with other types of like items and situations, you're usually not in a particularly great spot taking Spectral Cutlass. So I don't think I take Spectral Cutlass. Luden's Tempest is good on some units, but it's a little bit forcing. I don't think I have an opener for it. Technically, you can play around Renata. Talisman of Ascension is just trash because a lot of times it doesn't even proc unless you have a situation where you can use it. And Trickster's Glass is generally underpowered. But Trickster's Glass is really good early game, right? Trickster's Glass is good early game because you basically just get an extra unit on your board. And a lot of times when there's only 4 units on your board, an extra unit is like a 20% increase on your board. It's a massive spike in power. So Trickster's Glass is probably the most reliable early game board if I'm trying to play for placements. If I wanted to really greed something, I can take Ludens and maybe play Renata or play something else that has burst damage. So here, we're going to see what I end up playing. I have a Kog'Maw, so I have like maybe a Sniper opener. I have some Bruisers. So I'm going to try and make the strongest board that I can. Just to try and save as much HP as possible. So here, I use Tricksters on Maddie, and I play double Maddie. I'm going to scout a little bit. This guy's Chem Baron, so I don't think I have to make any items. So as you can see, I'm debating if I make Edge of Night and I play towards like a melee user. I'm debating what items I should make. I can actually take a turn to decide here because this guy is trying to lose on purpose. So his board's going to be a little bit weaker than mine. So we just chill for a second. We're going to go through stage 2 because stage 2 is pretty important. Then we're going to skim over stage 3 and then we're going to go to stage 4 and onwards. Just so you guys can kind of get an idea of my decisions based on what I was explaining already before. So right now, my opener could be an AP opener for sure. I could definitely just make AP items and put them on Kog'Maw. But I have to scout around and see exactly what everybody's playing. So this guy's going Pilfer. Excuse me, I'm taking a sip of water. I really wish I scouted. What I'm trying to point out is that in this lobby, there is somebody who's going to be playing around Violet with a trench coat. But here I have a Set. Set is a little bit stronger, so I can try and just put the Set on the unit. Also, what's it called? The Trickster's Glass gives a bit of crit chance. So it actually is a good pairing with other glove items, like an IE, for example. So I look at this fight. This guy doesn't look particularly strong either, but I could slam items if I really wanted to. But if you look at it, this is what I mean by Trickster Glass is very strong. Right now, I'm level 3, right? I'm not anywhere. I'm not like level 4, but I'm level 3. And if you watch my Maddies, the two of them are going to absolutely pop off. Because basically your ult does a lot of damage. Okay, well, never mind. I lose this round. Okay, whatever. I lose this round because I didn't slam an item. That's fine. I'm still deciding what I'm playing. But what I was trying to say is that if you look at this Maddie, eventually when she uses her ult, she basically can almost always kill a unit because you have 2 of them that are always targeting the furthest unit, which is going to be the same unit. So here, for example, now I can put in sniper. Now I have a step 2. I still haven't technically committed towards Maddie yet. I still have to scout a little bit. I think I'm just a little bit stressed. So we have worth the wait. So worth the wait means that somebody's removing 1 cost, and then we have this guy, which is trenchcoat family with Vi. So now I know that there's at least 2 people in the lobby that are going to be buying and holding on to 1 cost units. So here, from this point onwards, I decide, okay, it's time to commit because I need to make sure that I save HP. Now, I should have scouted a turn earlier and I would have made this committing decision a little bit earlier. That's my bad. Because I know that I'm playing around AD, I can now use the tier to make a frontline item. So I make it Protector's Vow, because Protector's Vow is very good in a frontline item, especially with units like Steb that want to cast in order to keep this frontline alive. So basically what's going to happen now is, because I have 2 copies of Maddie because of the Tricksters, these Maddies are basically going to pop off. I basically have a huge DPS increase relative to most people in the lobby, and I put IE on the first Maddie. Because I have Step 2 with Protector's Vow, I've also slammed items, so I'm going to be relatively stronger than a lot of people. There's some people that are trying to fish and see whether or not they're going to play around Exodia. Like this guy, he took BRB, so he's sacking the first couple rounds, and he's going to see if he can play around Nocturne, because Nocturne has these broken item combinations. And for me, I know to myself, it's like, this is a lobby where there's going to be 2 people that are holding on to a bunch of 1 cost. When everybody buys 1 cost, it thins out the pool and it makes it easier for you to hit the other 1 cost units. So I could just chill here. I don't even have to roll aggressively. They will just naturally show up in my shop at one point because so many of the other 1 costs are going to be bought by other people, right? If somebody's playing family reroll with a family emblem, they're going to be buying all the Dravens. They're going to be buying all the Dariuses. They're going to be buying all of the Violets. They're going to be buying a bunch of powders. They're all going to get removed from the pool. So here, I just want to play around Steb, Trundle, and then I also want to play around my Bruiser frontline that it can really easily stabilize till later in the game. Obviously, I did have AP items. I could have made a Shojin and played towards AP. There are other games where you don't have any AP items and all you start with is like a glove and a sword or a bow and a sword, and it's really, really difficult to pivot or play towards those AP units later in the game. At least for now, that's what, like, Trickster's Glass isn't necessarily a strong item. It's not necessarily the best item you can hit, especially in an Order artifact. But the way that you have to play around it is that you have to look at your units and you have to say to yourself, this is basically like +1 unit on my board, right? It's almost like a Fawn early game, or a Force of Nature, or what's it called, Tactician's Crown, right? It's basically like having an extra unit on my board, which is very, very strong when there's not a lot of units on the board, right? If you have like 7 versus 8 units on the board, it's not as important as having an extra unit. But early in the game, like very, very early on, it is very, very important to have an extra unit on your board, because it's the difference between like 4 and 5 units. It makes a huge difference in the fight. So here, for example, last game I think I played Zeri and it didn't go super well from a similar spot. But here, you know, I'm trying to decide, okay, what do I play? Anyways, for those that are wondering, item guide will be out tomorrow. I did say it before. I might split it up into 3 parts. Tomorrow we'll be talking a lot about diminishing returns. I just didn't have a time to record it. I basically just finished the presentation and I stopped to record it. So I decided that it would be faster for me to record this one, which is why I ended up doing this video today. I also thought it was topical because I just hit Masters, so it's really fresh as a topic. But the idea is, the main point of what I'm trying to explain here is that Maddie isn't that strong of a unit. I'm not necessarily going to be like giga broken. It's not something you can abuse to just win every single game. It's something that contextually, if you need to be strong and you know that a lobby is going to fall apart very, very fast, you can save a lot of HP by playing around units that are uncontested. That's my play style. There's some people that don't have that play. There's some people that no matter what, they will always play what the quote-unquote best comp is, because the best comp, like, why would you settle for anything less? I'm a settler. I'm always down for, okay, what are people not playing? I'll play that and I'll make a board out of it and I'll just play for placements and have a bunch of HP. That's like my play style more so. I felt like this patch, there wasn't that much room for that. Because it just felt like, not that it was flushed out, it just felt like whenever you tried to play for placements, somebody would just happen to have a Victor or a 6 cost, and then it would just ruin all of your hard work, because you would just lose out anyways, because they would get bailed out, right? Somebody with low HP would hit a Victor, and while you are thinking that you're going to like glide into a 4th, all of a sudden some guy that has 1 HP is taking your spot at 4th, then you slide into a 5th. So I didn't know exactly how to do it. What I realized is that you just have to like be a lot stronger a lot earlier on. Here I make Gwinsu to help this Maddie cast. So the Trickster's Glass gives a little bit of crit chance. IE has good synergy with that because IE basically makes your abilities crit. So that having a bit of extra crit chance helps with that. And then I have the Maddie with Gwinsu. The Gwinsu is to make it so that she can cast a little bit faster a couple more times. So here I see that the Violet player is rolling a bunch. So here I'm going to roll a little bit. So I'm rolling for Steb, I'm rolling for Maddie. As you can see, almost every shop that I roll has a Steb or a Maddie or a Trundle. They all have a unit that I require. It's very, very funny, but it's very, very common because the other person is thinning out the pool so much. That was a very, very efficient roll, right? I rolled to 30. I'm 1 off Steb 3. I'm Maddie upgraded from having 1 Maddie. And I didn't even grief my econ that much. Look at my bench. My bench is very expensive. I can make 40 because I can sell the 2 TFs and I can sell the Nami and the Ezreal. I'm actually very, very rich, right? I rolled maybe like 10, 15 gold and I found a Steb in every single shop. And a lot of it is just because other players are rolling and gathering units that they require. See, so right here, I make 40. My econ isn't even in a bad spot. I'm level 5, 50 gold, start of stage 2. And I'm 1 off Step 3. It's crazy. I'm in a pretty good spot. Here I'm debating if I take Shimmers, because Shimmers, I think, like, you know, Gold Collector might be really good here. I can also take Starry Night Plus, which just helps me to hit like my upgraded units a little bit more. But here I hit Heavily Smash, right? Heavily Smash, every 4 seconds, bruisers deal 7% bonus max health, bonus max health, bonus physical damage on their next attack. So if I have a really, really strong unit, it gives them extra damage. What does it also give you? It gives you a Steb. It gives you a Steb. It's insane. Sorry if I raised my voice too much. I leaned in towards the mic, so it might have got a little bit loud for you. I apologize. But it gave you a Steb. So out of nowhere, it's 3-2. I'm 50 gold, level 5 with a Steb 3. This is where you play the game. If you see somebody is family rerolling, you see somebody is, I think this guy sold his worth the wait. Does he not have worth the wait? I forget. I thought this guy had a worth the wait, so I don't know why he doesn't have a 3-star 1 cost. I guess he just sold it. He just wanted to play around Rebels, so he's just using it for econ. Either way, that's maybe a misjudgment by me. I thought this guy was also holding on to a bunch of 1 costs, but he is technically holding on to 1 because he's holding on to Irelias and Vexes. But as of right now, right, the point, like when I was talking about Maddie being bad, Maddie's really bad because she misses. But if you have a Steb 3, nobody's killing the Steb 3. So none of the units are actually going to be walking around and moving because they're all going to be static trying to kill the Steb 3. So that means that this Maddie is actually going to be able to aim and shoot her shots, which is a massive increase, right? The Steb is way more important than the Maddie 3 in your mid game because having a Steb 3, right now the Maddie, she could take all the time in the world to shoot. She is definitely going to be able to get there. Now, another thing to note, this lobby is messed up for multiple reasons, right? Look, we have the Violet player who is really, really strong. We have the Ornn artifacts, which are very, very scary. There's a couple of people that have potential for Exodia. There's also a Chem Baron player. If you didn't notice, I'm not going to go back in the VOD, but the Chem Baron player has the Chem Baron augment that makes him recover HP, and he has a Chem Baron emblem. So that guy is basically guaranteed to win. There's almost nothing you can do. The Chem Baron player is going first because he will hit 500 guaranteed. He will probably go for a 600 or a 700. It is so ridiculously strong. Anyways, this is what I was saying before about Maddie. Watch this Maddie, right? Look, my second Maddie shoots, and then my first Maddie's going to shoot again. The Lux is dead. GG. And my Steb still... nobody's moving because Steb 3 is just a tank. He's just tanking everything. Right? Now, obviously, Steb is going to fall off late game. He's not going to be like a Giga Tank forever. Right? This isn't a combat medic situation where Steb is like the hero unit. Things are going to go bad, of course. But look at the lobby. Look at my HP. Right? I have a Trickster's Glass. I want that to be very, very important. I'm playing Maddie with a Trickster's Glass in Ornn Artifact. I don't have Nocturne with RFC. I don't have like some sort of Exodia shit. I have arguably one of the most underpowered, one of the like most mid Ornn artifacts that's pretty much only good for early game. It's also really good late game, by the way. If you get a 6 cost, it's really good to put a Trickster's Glass on a 6 cost because then you're just duplicating a 6 cost that has like a bunch of power and a bunch of stats. So it is really good on the 6 cost, don't get me wrong. But in general, it's not that great of an item, right? It is generally, it's not that great of an item. Because even if you have like a 3-star frontline unit or a 3-star backline unit, a unit without items doesn't really do that much. That's just a thing in TFT. The items is what makes the units monstrous. So with the Trickster's Glass, it kind of just like, it's kind of like whatever. But anyways, look, this is a Renata reroller. Okay, so there we go. I remember there was another reroller in this lobby. So this guy is holding on to a bunch of Vexes, and they're holding on to a bunch of Singes and Irelias. So they're rerolling a bunch of 1 costs. So it's gonna make it really efficient for me to eventually, when I resend it, to hit the Maddie 3 and the Trundle 3. But for now, I'm basically winning every single round. It's not even close. So I am in such a good spot because not only am I very, very rich, I also already have a Steb 3, and there's a Chem Baron player. So what's going to happen is, at the end of this game, the only difference between everybody else, the great equalizer, is going to be HP. The Chem Baron player is going to win. If you do not believe me that the Chem Baron player is going to win, then I'm sorry, but I also have the hindsight of having played the game already, so I know that I'm right. Like, it's not even up for question. Like, maybe I should have said that before, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I've already witnessed what happens in this game because I lived it. But besides the point, if you see a Chem Baron player, you have to anticipate that once they get their cash out, they might just win the lobby. So because there's those type of pressures in the lobby, that's the reason for playing something like this. Now imagine if I played towards AD and instead I was playing around Twitch. If I was playing around Twitch and I didn't have this level of an opener, what would happen is I would probably be losing a lot of these early game rounds. I would basically be losing, and then I would be somewhere in like the middle of the HP, right? Because I'd win some, I'd lose some, I'd win some, I'd lose some. But I wouldn't be able to roll because I still need to have that gold to roll for Twitch, right? Mundo is going to be very hard to find, so I can't sacrifice. It's not like I can say, oh, I'll take Steb 3 and then I'll level and I'll roll later. It's like, no, you probably have to roll earlier rather than later. Here I lose to the Violet player, but we'll talk about the Violet later. This guy has like way more upgrades than me. Not way more, but just in general a little bit more, because he has triple better item on the Violet. Here there's a Twitch, so I can just play the Twitch as my my secondary sniper instead of Kog'Maw, which is totally fine. And I'm starting to roll a little bit. I'm waiting as long as possible to roll because I want other people to thin out the pool for me. I'm in a spot because I have a lot of HP that if I wait and other people buy 1 costs, I will then be able to buy the 1 cost more effectively because they're already thinning out the pool. The earlier you roll, the less you don't want to roll you want to roll while everybody else already finished rolling and then take the units after they thin out the pool for you. So here I can make anti-heal. I can also make like sundering. So here I'm gonna roll a little bit, right? As you can see, every roll that I roll, there's like one of the units that I want in the shop. Pretty much. That's just because I'm uncontested and the pool has been thinned out dramatically. So I'm 1 off Trundle 3, I'm 1 off Maddie 3, done. We're done. Was that hard? Now you can argue and you can say that's high roll, right? Of course it is kind of high roll. The problem, it's because there's like 2 other people that I'm just waiting for them to buy all of the 1 costs, and they're just buying all the 1 costs. Anyways, if you didn't believe me that this guy's gonna win, look at his spot. He's level 8, 425 out of 500, and he has 40 HP. He 100% won the lobby, by the way. He has a Silco, so he's literally 6 Chem Baron. So all that matters, like I said, the great equalizer is HP, right? All that matters in this game was HP. And that's what I did. I played this whole game with the idea of preserving HP. That's what I say when Maddie carried. Maddie literally put me on her back and carried me throughout all of these games. Because like nobody buys this dog shit unit, and now she's like my dog shit unit. You know what I mean? She's my friend, right? Me and Maddie, I've come around. She's now my favorite unit. If anybody asks me what my favorite unit this set is, it's Maddie. Maddie single-handedly got me out of Diamond into Masters in a very, very short period of time. I just made one adjustment. I said to myself, what do I do when the lobby is messed up and I know that I'm losing no matter what? I just reroll the uncontested Maddie unit that nobody is gonna contest me with, and she's good enough. Like she's good. She's fine. She's totally fine. She's not that great, but she's totally fine. Here for the augment, I just take max cap. So it makes your max cap level 7, and then you gain a bunch of gold and a fawn. Basically, of the other ones, there's nothing that I really wanted. I really wanted like a prismatic combat augment, but there's none of the combats that I particularly liked. So the reason I took max cap here is because the board is complete with 8 units. Remember what I said before? The board's complete with 8 units. So all I want to do is I'm just going to level to 7. I already hit all my 3-star 1 costs. And I'm just going to go for all the other bruisers as 3 stars, basically. I'm just going to use all my gold on level 7. I'm going to go for Rennie 3. I'm going to go for Set 3. I'm going to go for Nunu 3. Hopefully I can hit a Twitch 2. If I find a Caitlyn, I'll swap out the Twitch for a Caitlyn because that's going to be a little bit better. And I'm just going to keep rocking this. As you can see, I have 2 Maddies to do a bunch of damage. And the thing about Maddie that's really, really good, this is another point that's really, really important, is that Maddie always targets the same units. Always targets in the same spot. Because like she always targets the furthest unit. So there's a lot of consistency. There's no randomness in her actual in her ult. So that makes her have a lot of skill in terms of figuring out exactly what to do at certain points in the game. So here I'm just rolling a little bit. So now I'm going to go back to the stat thing. So something that's really important with Maddie is that even if somebody is really, really strong, you can cheese them, right? Let's say somebody has like, I don't know, let's say they're really strong and they have like a Silco 2, right? And their board is like fully upgraded. You know that you're going to lose. Maddie always targets the furthest unit. So if this guy doesn't position for me, right? If this guy doesn't pay attention to where I'm playing the game, if I just put my Maddie here, I guarantee that I'm aiming at the Silco. If I kill this Silco early, they no longer have a damage dealer. Nobody's able to kill the Steb anymore, right? My Steb 3-star lives for free, and I win the round. There's so many rounds that are like that you can easily win, and not everybody can position for you, because until it's late game, they won't even be able to position for you because there's too many people to take into account for, right? So for a lot of these fights, you'll see that I scout, and then I put both my Maddies to target the same furthest unit. Because with the Trickster's Glass, I basically have 2 chances between the 2 of them to basically delete that dude down to 0 HP. Or girl, if it's like, or they, them. Whatever the unit is in the back corner. And it's really hard for them to position otherwise, because they have to position around basically me, right? If they don't scout, I win the fight. If they do scout and they're like a 50-50 fighting me or fighting somebody else, then I still have a 50-50 of just cheesing them in that way. So as you can see, I'm very, very strong. I'm very, very stable. I don't have an Elise, so I'm still 5 bruiser. But I'm winning a lot of these rounds. Here, eventually, technically at one point, I might want to just put a 3rd damage item on the Maddie instead of playing the double Maddie. You'll start to notice that the second Maddie does really little in terms of the damage. So eventually, I'll move the Trickster's class onto a frontline unit. I want to probably move it on to like a Nunu 3, if anything. Ideally, I would like to put on a Rennie 3. I think Rennie 3 with the stun, she is absolutely a monster. So I would love to have 2 stunning units with the Rennie 3. But I digress. We'll see how it goes. As you can see in this game, Maddie, trash unit, I'm still highest HP in the lobby. Right? I'm still 89. I'm 89 HP. I'm not win streaking because I lost that 1 round. But I am doing very, very well for myself. This is a Renata player. They didn't hit 3-star Sage, so I might actually beat this guy. But look, the Steb, good enough. Bruisers, it is what it is. And yeah, Renata's going to die very soon. She can't out-heal. She can't out-heal 2 Maddies just blasting. It's great. We take those. We take those guaranteed. So, I'm not sure where it happens. Here, it's anomaly round. So, for anomaly, I'm just going to skip a couple rounds now. Like I said, I'm going to skip towards the end because this was the main point that I wanted to show you, right? At one point, I'm going to start losing rounds. Here, I wanted either a Giga frontline augment for Steb, like something like HP. There's one that's like, give a shield to yourself and the lowest ally. That one is like BIS for this comp. I guarantee you that's like the best augment you can hit. I had it one game. I didn't lose a single fight. It was insane. You just put that on Steb. Steb literally gains HP and then he just like, gains a HP shield and then he shields somebody else. So nobody ever dies. It's insane. What I end up doing is I find ultimate hero. So in my thought process, what I thought to myself is that would I rather have 2 Steb 4s or 2 Maddie 4s? So in my head, I was like, wait, if I just have 2 Maddie 4s, isn't that good? Because I have Trickster's class. So I could probably duplicate it and have 2 copies of a unit. So first I'm like, 2 Stebs. But then I look at my front line, I'm thinking to myself, I have 6 Bruiser. My whole board is front line. I might as well just do it for the Maddie. So I decided to just go 2 Maddies, basically. So I go for Ultimate Hero here. As you can see, I lose against this guy who's a little bit more capped than me. He ends up killing my Maddie with the Zoe before I can actually position a little bit better. If you notice the Chem Baron guy cashed out 700. If you don't know what a 700 cash out is, he has a Silco 3. So remember all that stuff that I was talking about? The Chem Baron guy has a Silco 3. He has a Silco 3. He's 7 Chem Baron with a Silco 3. Do you think he's losing a single round? No. Right? The lobby's messed up, right? There's nothing you can do. The lobby's messed up. But what do we have? HP. Right? There's only one person with more HP than me, and that is the family player. The family player, and the only reason the family player has more HP than me is because that one round they beat me. And that's because they have like the Orn artifact, right? If they didn't have Trenchcoat, I would have won that fight. This guy is 6 family. He has a family emblem, and he got another family emblem, and he got Violet, and he got Ultimate Hero on Violet, and he has Trenchcoat. He has the most broken version of this family comp that could exist. There is nothing more broken than this guy's setup with family. Very, very important to note. Anyways, lo and behold, this is something that's really a teachable moment for you guys back at home. When you have Trickster's Glass on a 4-star unit, it doesn't make a second copy of a 4-star unit. So that kind of sucks. Because, yeah, my bad. I didn't know that. Well, now you know. So don't take... If you're planning on doing this, it doesn't work. I learned that out the hard way. But either way, I'm just using my gold. I'm stuck on level 7 because of my Prismatic Augment. So I'm just rolling for 3 stars of all of the 5-cost units. Now that I only have 1 copy of Maddie 4, I think I'm just going to transfer full damage onto one of the Maddies. As you can see, I have the Bruiser trait, so a lot of the Bruisers are doing a little bit of chip damage. But my second copy of Maddie is doing like abysmally low damage compared to the first Maddie. So I don't really care that much about the second copy of it. So eventually I'm going to remove it. I think I do it this turn. I'm going to put double IE on Maddie. It is not necessarily the greatest, but it is a lot of AD. So I'm basically just going for a one-shot build. Like Maddie, the first unit that she chooses to shoot at. Double IE, she does 100% crit chance, just absolutely deletes a unit. And then I'm going to use the Trickster's Glass on the Nunu 3 that I have. Because I already have 3 items on Steb that I like. I think I could have used it on Trundle, but I think Nunu 3 is just going to be more tanky than the Trundle. So I do this. This is the Chem Baron player, so it is what it is. You lose this guaranteed. It's Silco 3. Silco 3, 700 cash out, perfected items. If you think 500 cash out is bad, look at this one. But I still kill a bunch of units. Maddie at least kills at least 1 unit, so I'll take that. I'm 49 HP. Like I said, the only person that has an HP lead on me is the family player, which has the most absurd family spot imaginable. The way this game plays out is that everybody just dies, right? I just sit here. I just roll for my units. I didn't know the guy had Rennie 3, so I was trying to make a deal with the Chem Baron player here. I was like, hey, can I just go for Rennie 3? Can you sell your Rennies so that I can make Rennie 3? Because you won anyways. I just want for the YouTube video everybody on my front line to be gold, because then it would make a cool thumbnail. But then this guy was just memeing at me. He's like, yeah, don't worry, I'll sell it. Don't worry, I'll sell it. And then he just made Rennie 3 anyways. So like, I guess he just doesn't like to have fun. Like, he won the game anyways, but he just made Rennie 3 anyways. So it's like, okay, my bad. Alright, cool. I find a Caitlyn eventually. I think I got off a carousel. It's just going to be Chem Baron player killing off everybody. This is the part of the game that is very, very fun. So, this guy is 6 pit fighter, 5 family. This is what I mean by Maddie's not that bad. She's alright. If you look at this fight, I got Rennie to stun instantly, right? So that's really good for me. Violet's wasting a bunch of time. My Maddies are basically killing everybody. Oh, you know another thing? Trickster's Glass with Maddie. The second copy of the Trickster's Glass unit also gets the Enforcer buff. I forgot to mention that earlier. But watch this. Look, she can't kill the Nunu. She can't kill the other dude. Guess who wins this fight? Maddie. I won. I am now the stronger player. I won against this guy multiple times. Right? The problem is, if you look at it now, who has the most HP in the lobby? Me. I'm the one win streaking now. So I literally beat everybody in the lobby except for, well, this guy just beat me one turn, but I beat everybody in the lobby. I'm the most HP. I just get unlucky and I fight the Chem player again. So it ends up that I end up third here, right? But I could have easily ended up second, right? The only reason this guy didn't go second, by the way, I think he had a Mel. Somebody had a Mel. That's how they survived with 1 HP. But this guy fought a clone, so I end up with a third, right? But it could have been a second, right? That's the idea with it, which is actually very, very insane. So that's my VOD review of me talking about it. Now I'm just going to talk about one of the other games that I played. Let me just put back the music. The game that actually I ranked up with, I can't show you this game, but it was a very similar idea, right? What I did is, in this game, basically I had Pandoras, this guy had Pandoras, and this guy had Pandoras. I know it looks really weird. I have an Elise 3-star. This guy has an Embesta 3, a Corky 3, and this guy's a Heimer 3. What happened was, there was this guy that was rolling for 1 cost, and there was a bunch of Sentinel players. Right, this guy was playing Chem Baron, but he was holding on to all the 1 cost. This guy was basically re-rolling and holding on to all the 1 cost. He was trying to play towards this Lux 3 funny line. This Lux 3 line, if you haven't seen it, it's like you get Lone Hero as an augment, and then you play Lux in the background with double Archangels. And this guy was talking smack the whole game. He was like, oh, I won for sure. And everybody's like, yeah, isn't that broken? And everybody's like, GG, this sucks. This game sucks, blah, blah, blah. What happened is, this guy out of nowhere hits a Corky 3 in the middle of stage 4, and he starts railing everybody. I'm playing Maddie, because I just got Maddie for free, because nobody was playing this board. So I have Maddie 3, Step 3, the same as usual, right? The same old, me and my day one, me and Maddie just against the world. I beat this guy, so I sent him 4th because he has Lone Hero. The way this works is that Lux is the last one alive, and then Lux just basically 1v9s the rest of the board because she shields herself and the Archangel scales. It does not matter because I sniped her at the start of the fight with Maddie, so I won the fight and I sent this guy 4th. This guy hit Heimer, this guy hit Corky. After a while, once all of the other players died that were holding on to Elises, there was a couple of them because there was like the Dominator guy had Elises. This guy had Elises, this guy had Elises. I eventually just hit Elise 3. If you don't know, Elise 3 has an 8-second stun. So it doesn't matter that this guy had Heimer 3, and it doesn't matter that this guy had Corky 3. This guy was, I think he was pretty angry. He started typing at the end of the match, but maybe he was just like saying it as a meme. But like, he was like, bruh, like, what is this game? Because like, the Elise basically just stunned his Corky for 8 seconds, and then I scaled up with Archangels, and I just one-shot everything. So that's how I got into Masters, right? This was a very high roll game, but to be fair, I was only like 20 LP away, right? If I got 3rd here, which if I didn't have Elise 3, I definitely would have gotten 3rd because I beat this guy no matter what. But that's how I did it. So that's my journey with Maddie. I thought it'd be a fun video just to talk about it, a little bit of a different style of VOD review. I know the VOD reviews don't do as well as the guides, but like I said, I was really busy today and tired and, like, you know, not too well. So I'm going to do the item guides tomorrow. I'm going to do some other guides. I'm also going to do a general rank up guide. As tradition, whenever I make it to Masters, I do a tips for every rank along the way guide. So that's going to come out in as soon as I finish the item guides. And yeah, hopefully this was an enjoyable VOD review. If you're a Maddie enjoyer, make sure to comment below that you like Maddie. If you're a Maddie hater, trust me, I used to hate it. Don't play this all the time. I don't think it's broken. Of course, if they buff Maddie in the future, because Maddie I don't think is that strong, this will be broken as a strategy. So I really hope they don't touch this Maddie unit. I hope they just leave her as being like how she is, because this is like my little comfort comp now. But hopefully it can be your comfort comp if you're like in a lobby where everybody's playing 1 cost and stuff like that. But anyways, thank you. Hopefully you have a great day. Make sure to like and subscribe, and bye bye.